Hello, YouTubers, and Merry Christmas. It's almost a new year. We're going to try and get one more video in before we get to 2020. So what we're going to show you today is a porting service that we have recently developed. It's an extension of the CNC intake porting that we have done in the past, where rather than just stopping at cutting the port shape and in some cases the bridge, we are now offering CNC porting inside the runner, which is very tricky to engineer and set up for this, but we've got it done. And once we do the porting from this side and the porting in the runner, you can consider yourself complete CNC porting on the intake. As a bonus, we're also going to show you another program service we're offering, which is our Cnc Exhaust Porting program, and that entails removing the exhaust sleeve from the rotor housing. We'll show you how we do that, and then we actually CNC the port on the housing while the sleeve is out, and then we have a nice little bonus method of reinstalling the sleeve with set screws instead of the factory roll pin, so we can get the sleeve bang on center. And so it's held in with nice secure threaded screws with a needle point on the end. And we'll show you all that as soon as we get to the machine. So stand by and we'll take you through it. Okay, so we're just finishing mounting our sample piece to the jig. And you know, it doesn't really matter whether or not we do the runner first and then do the port on our flat jig or vice versa. Essentially what we're aiming for is in a complete CNC port. So in this case, since we're talking about the runner, we're just going to go ahead and do the runner first. We may not even show you the other side because you guys have seen that in all of our other videos before. But and when we move on after we're finished showing you the final product after the machine runs, we'll probably show you some other samples, like some larger FD or 20V ports that have been done, same machine, same process, just to give you an idea of the different varieties that we're doing. But in this case, this is a Series 5 T2 rear, so we're going to go ahead and run this one, and then we will bring you over to the other room and show you some samples. Okay, that port is finished now. So what we'll do is we'll demount this and give you a quick glance at what was done. And again, we probably won't bother doing the other port to join up with the work we just did here in this video, but we will bring you into the other room and show you the final. Let's get this stuff out of here. So that would be our final product, all the way down to where my finger is. It's done the whole depth of the runner, top, bottom, and all the way around. So we'll bring this into the other room and show you some of the other finished products so you can see a little bit more in a close-up with better light. And then we will move on to the CNC exhaust porting. Okay, so this is the Turbo 2 iron that we just ported here, and again we've gone a good 60 millimeters deep inside the runner, and I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I'm going to put my finger on the line where it ported to, which is way back in here. So if I take my marker and I mark that, that line is right back here where the port starts to transition that direction. So it's literally hogged out the entire runner all the way through, and it's hit every side, a couple millimeters up, couple down. And again, the most important thing about doing the CNC runners and the CNC porting on this side is we get to match rotor number 1 and rotor number 2 precisely. And you do pick up extra flow because we are changing the cross-sectional area of the runner. This is a 12A full bridge. Now this port has not been finished yet, but as you can see, we have a very, very long bridge here. And then we have our big race port cut out here. And you can see all the shiny CNC work here. Well, again, if I put this housing here and you look at the runner we did, we've got this beautiful runner machined all the way down to where it's almost matching the work we did here. There's just a little bit of factory casting left on this side that has to be cleaned out. But outside of that, this port has been opened up substantially from the factory 12A port. This is a sample of the center ports that we do on an FD engine. Okay, so much taller. We leave enough of a divider in the middle for the gasket to seal. It's not sitting on a knife edge or anything, but it definitely has made this divider perfectly straight up and down, and it's perfectly flat on both sides. And again, we've contacted all the way around the entire runner, so these two ports will flow absolutely perfectly from rotor number 1 and rotor number 2, and we've improved the flow dynamics substantially. So I would say we probably get an extra 18 to 22% flow from improving the shape and the dynamics of these runners as compared to the factory constricted runners to help feed this bridge port and this opened up primary port. No different than the two matching FD REW large secondary end housings. Same thing, if you look in here, you can see the line where the machine work stops. You know, it's a good millimeter to 1.5 millimeters wide there that still has to be blended out. But again, we've gone entirely down into the port, lifted this up, taken out that restrictive hump on the roof of the port here, machined all this nice and clean, and widened up the radius on the bottom and a much nicer gradual entrance to the actual port itself. And again, this is going to work in conjunction with the big street port, CNC port, and the turbo half bridge that we have here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the CNC exhaust porting that we offer, and we will show you the work that we do on the machine, just like we showed you with the sample T2 rear iron, and show you what we do there, and move on to show you how we remove the sleeve and finish up the exhaust ports. And then eventually we'll have a package for doing a complete CNC ported engine for your 12A aspirated 13B turbo engine or your racetrack engine. We'll have some options very shortly on the website, and we'll have more videos to come. So let's take you over to the exhaust porting, and we'll talk to you there. Okay, so now we're on to the exhaust porting. So what we have here is we've got a special tool, which is just a clamp that we're going to go ahead and insert through the factory sleeve. And what that does is it allows the sleeve to have pressure, maintained pressure, so when the pins are being machined, the sleeve cannot move around. And we just clamp this in till it's snug, and you'll see again on this side we've got now a clamp on that sleeve, and we're going to just lay this housing down on our jig, and then we're going to put our clamp on. And we're going to go ahead, turn on the machine, and we're going to basically mill out this roll pin. Okay, so that roll pin has now been completely dusted. And so we're going to remove this housing, keep the clamp in, flip it over, remove the roll pin from the other side, and then we'll walk you through once we get to the stage where we have no sleeve in the housing. Again, that roll pin is completely dusted there. So we'll see you when we're ready to knock the sleeve out. Okay, so we're just going to take out this clamp and then give this sleeve a little tap. Oh, it didn't even need much. There it goes there. There it is. So now our sleeve is out, and we're just going to take this to the glass beater and glass bead the inside of this housing, and then we will come back and mount this to the machine, and we will show you how we port the exhaust. Okay, we're just going to mount this rotor housing to our jig and tighten up this clamp. And then we're going to be porting in through the exhaust port without the sleeve and cutting this to the shape that we have built our program around. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so it looks like our machine is just finishing up here, and what we're going to do is when it comes to a park position, we're just going to remove the rotor housing and give you a quick glance shot of the final work, and you'll be able to see a beautiful symmetrical port with a nice radius finish on the top. And so you can see that. We'll show you that also close up in a minute when we go into the other room to thread our set screws in and secure the sleeve. But that is essentially what we've done, is cut this to a perfect shape, smack on in the middle. And what we'll show you later is how our program actually is designed to line up perfectly with the contours of the sleeve. So we'll show you that in just a minute. So we've glass beaded out the carbon from this housing here, and now we've got a perfectly clean bore. Now what we're going to do is we've tapped the one side. Mike's just going to continue tapping the side B, and basically we're going to fit our sleeve in with these needle point set screws, which is real nice because they actually bite in to the factory hole in the sleeve and form a perfect centering. As a locator, more or less. So we'll do that, and then the other thing I want to say about the exhaust is depending on the housing that you have, we have different port designs. So we do offer different porting for standard 86 and up 13B. It covers all the way to 2001 peripheral exhaust 13Bs. And then we also have a port program for a GSLSE. We have a port program for a 12A street motor, a 12A race motor, and we also have a longer exhaust port for a 13B full bridge and peripheral engine. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're just taking the set screw now and running that in until it contacts, and then what we'll do is we'll tighten down the other side and we'll try and find dead center, and then we'll show you what the final product looks like here. And just so people know, the traditional method for getting out these pins, and I've heard a lot of people use different techniques, they're not easy to get the factory roll pins out. Machining them out is an option we have that most people won't have. So typically what we've always shown people is if you're sacrificing your old sleeve, you cut through the sleeve and then you knock the roll pin through and then you replace the sleeve with something else. If you're trying to salvage your sleeve, you either have to machine it out like we did, or you have to be real patient and try and figure out a way to extract those pins. But anyway, as you can see, we've got equal gaps now on either side of the sleeve. This sleeve is not going anywhere because it's much stronger than the factory roll pins. We've got these beautiful set screws. And if we look at the final product here, hopefully we can get a little bit of a close-up in here. We can see we've got this beautiful D-shaped port shape in here, and we've got the floor of the sleeve to match the machine work that we've done just perfectly. So, and I'll show you if we can zoom in and look inside that hole, you should be able to see that the sleeve is lining up absolutely perfectly with the machine work we've done on the rotor housing. So definitely pick up a few horsepower just from flow alone, but more than anything, the whole purpose of CNC porting an engine is for the precision to be able to match the front rotor and the back rotor so they're flowing at exactly the same rates. And we probably will start doing our semi-peripheral option up here for guys who want to do semi-peripheral. But one step at a time, just to let you know, we are doing the CNC exhaust porting, the CNC runner porting, and all the different configurations of intake ports, from street port to bridge port to full bridge, short bridge, half bridge. And if you're interested, we are going to start running some promotional prices on packages. So give us a call and we'll let you know how to get your housings up to us. See you guys soon.